Hello everyone, Patricius Juwanano again here. Good morning. Today's topic is communicative language testing. I'm going to discuss what is called communicative language testing, how to do that, and some test formats that you can do for communicative language testing. Let's dive straight into my PowerPoint slides. So here is our topic for today, communicative language test. Now, before you listen to this lecture, it is better that you can read the material on the Moodle, on our Moodle document or a file, communicative language test. And then that will make it easier for you to follow my lecture, or you can do vice versa. You can listen to my video first and then you read that file. Yeah. And depending on the situation, you are going to go online to have a discussion, or go to face-to-face or blended learning session to confirm our understanding about communicative language testing. So communicative language testing started with development of language teaching before the era of CLT. That stands for communicative language testing. Before the era of CLT, tests were predominantly discrete. Now, what is discrete? Discrete is that actually it means separate. So you treat language separately. You split the language into separate elements, and then you deal with one elements one by one, separately. So in terms of testing, people in that era would test grammar, vocab, pronunciation, speaking, listening, writing, reading separately. Again, the keyword here is discrete, which means separate elements being dealt with individually. Now, in contrast to that, CLT measures the ability to communicate in real life. See, this is the phrase communicate in real life is the key phrase here. Keep that in mind. Yeah? Communicate in real life. That's the goal of CLT. So it measures the integrated skills. Yeah, as opposed to discrete, it is now concerned with measuring integrated skills. Yeah, the word integrated here is the keyword, integrated skills. What is integrated skills? Listening and speaking, reading and writing. Yeah, so all the skills are now integrated depending on the demand of the real life. If in the real life they have to listen and speak, or listen and write, then that's it. In the testing, they will also have to do the same thing, the same sequence of skills or the same combination of skills. More importantly, they test the specific abilities that test takers use in their real life activities. Again, now CLT is oriented toward real life activities. It measures the test taker's ability to carry out communicative acts in their real life activities. See, this is the difference between the CLT and the tests before the CLT era. In CLT, it's always the main concern is always the real life abilities of the test takers. The test wants to know whether the test takers can perform communicatively well in their real life abilities. Now, for example, secretaries in their office, right? This is the office is their real life work, right? Pilots in their cockpits communicating with the ATC or with other flights, with other airplanes, with the co-pilots and etc. Yeah, so this is their real life situation. Secretaries in their offices doing their jobs, and pilots in their cockpits communicating with different people on the ground or in the air. Yeah. Now this leads to analysis of their target language use, or TLU. We are going to discuss this later. Yeah. Analysis of their target language use. Target language use, or TLU, is actually the same thing as real life activities that the test takers have to perform. Okay. Now, cognitive language tests is aimed to measure how test takers use language in the real life situation. Yes, I have emphasized this, right? This is the primary feature, the most prominent feature of communicative language test. It is that it always wants to measure the test taker's language use in their real life situation, in their real life profession, in their real life occupations. Yeah. Now, in testing the productive skills, it emphasizes more on the appropriateness of the responses than on the accuracy of the responses. Yes. Well, actually, both are important, but appropriateness is now also considered seriously. Yeah. So a test taker will have to say some utterances which not only grammatical but also appropriate to the situation, to the context that he or she is in, to the people or to the persons they are speaking to, yeah, or they are writing to. Yeah. So appropriateness is an important element to be considered here. So when you test communicative language testing, when you test a group of people using CLT, you have to include the appropriateness and the accuracy in your rubric. Remember, rubric is a scoring guideline. You have to include the element of appropriateness and accuracy as an element to be scored in your rubric, in your scoring guideline. Yeah. In testing the receptive skills, remember this, receptive skills, reading and listening, it emphasizes on the understanding and the correct actions or responses of the test takers. So if you are testing some test takers' ability to read and understand the manual, then you will also have to measure their ability to respond to that manual. Maybe they will have to do something in accordance to the instructions in the manual. Maybe they have to report it to their supervisors. Maybe they have to summarize that. It depends on the demands of the real life situation or their real life job. Okay. CLT tends to be context specific. What is context specific? Context specific means it is very much dictated or determined by the context of the TLU, of the real life situation. So a test for secretaries is of course different from a test for a pilot or a teacher, because secretaries have their own context, pilot has his or her own context, and teachers have their own context. They are all different. So a test for a secretary will not look the same as the test for pilot, which is also different from a test for teachers, etc. Yeah. So CLT should be authentic. Again, let me remind you of one of the characteristics of a good test is being authentic. Authentic means it simulates the context in the real life job, in the real life demand, yeah, of the test takers. In order to prepare students to do a CLT, they need to be taught how to carry out communication in their target situation. Okay, this one addresses the teaching area. So of course, if you are training some pilots to do their jobs in using English language, you have to train them how to pronounce correctly, how to learn the jargons of air traffic, of air navigation, yeah, things like that. Should be very much specific to the context. Yeah. Okay, you are going to do the task later. You have to make an information gap speaking test or make a writing test. Now, what is information gap? It's coming. Information gap is actually situation in which the test taker has the information that the other test taker does not know or does not have. That's called information gap. Yeah, the test taker, one of the test taker has the information that the other test taker doesn't know, and then they have to communicate. They have to communicate in order to bridge the gap, in order to let each of them know each other's information by exchanging dialogue. yeah, by speaking or by writing or by combination of both. Yeah. So for example, test taker A has a list of destinations in Bali. Test taker B has a list of transportation means and fares. Yeah, so test taker A does not know this, does not know about means and fares, transportation means and fares, and test taker B does know A's list of destinations. So that is a gap, information gap. Yeah. Now they have to talk to bridge the gap. So for example, the dialogue would go something like this. I have to go to Ubud and seminar. Do you know how to get there and how much does it cost? And B says, where are you now? And A answers, I'm at Kilimanu. And B responds, okay, from there you can go by Grab car to Ubud, but it is a bit expensive. Another way is by bus. The bus goes to Ubud every 11 o'clock in the morning, etc., etc. So they have to bridge the gap by talking to each other, by sharing the information. Yeah, here, B is sharing the information that he or she knows to A, and A also shares the information that she or he knows to B by talking, and that's information gap. You can create such a gap in order to make your test takers communicate to each other while you score their performance, their appropriateness, their fluency, their grammar, their development of ideas, yeah, and etc. Okay. Now in a role play, all the test takers know the same information. So there is no longer information gap because the test takers would know every information that they have to carry out in their communication. So there is no information gap here, but they have to play different roles. That's why it's called role play. So for example, in role A, you are a student, you come late. You have to explain to the teacher why you are late. He is angry, so you promise not to come late again. And student having role B, he or she is a teacher, then A comes late, she or he has to be angry and warn her or him not to come late again. Yeah, so each of the test takers has their own role and they have to play the role by communicating in English, and then you score their performance in English. Yeah. So that's the difference between information gap and role play. And you can create this kind of test in order to measure the actual performance of your test takers, again with reference to their real life situation. So first of all, you have to know their real life situation, their real life job, their TLU, target language use, in order to set an appropriate task for them. Yeah, the task again has to simulate the real life situation that we'll have to face outside the class or outside the testing situation. Okay? Stay safe, stay healthy. Goodbye, see you again in my next episode.